On today's episode of Behind These Eyes, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make fun fabric pumpkins to decorate your home for fall. So I was out shopping recently in one of these fun craft and hobby stores, and I noticed that fabric pumpkins are everywhere again this year. They're popping up in burlap and even in animal prints. And I wanted to see if I could make my own, and then I can make them any size I want. I started for this one with just a plain piece of burlap, but I wanted to color it, so I went ahead and used some dye. This is the Tulip One Step. You just add water and it's ready to go. And I dyed my square of burlap with the dye. Now you can make these squares any size you want. How large you make the square is going to affect how large your finished pumpkin is. And it's really a matter of trial and error because it also depends on how much you stuff them, etc., how big you end up with your finished one. So you've got your dyed square of burlap or fabric that you're using. And then I'm using embroidery floss, and I used the whole piece. I didn't break it up, and an embroidery needle. I went ahead and knotted one end. And then I'm going to begin gathering it up around the edges so that I can draw them together to create the pumpkin shape. I'm going to start about an inch in and run it up through my burlap. And I'm going to tie it off here, only because the burlap does have the holes in it and I don't want my knot to slip through. So I've gone through a couple more pieces, and I'm going to pick up that knot again and just make sure that my starting piece is tied in there good and tight. And then it gets really technical. I just over and under randomly push that fabric onto that piece of embroidery floss. An inch or so down from the edge of the fabric. When I get to the corner, I don't want to go all the way straight out to the corner and then back. I'm going to kind of round that edge. And then continue all the way around. I'll continue stitching and then I'll show you how easy it is to stuff it and to finish it up. So once I've gone all around the outside of my square with my rounded corners, I'm right back to that starting point where I knotted it. Now we're just going to begin to pull gently on that embroidery thread to draw together those stitched edges. You're almost creating like a burlap bag. So once you've got it all together, we need to stuff our pumpkin. And I'm going back to my trusty favorite thing to use to stuff things, plastic grocery bags. They're free, they're plentiful. So I've gone ahead and placed them into my pumpkin. And I'm going to pull it tight again because as you're stuffing, it loosens up a little bit. You want to continue to pull that string until it gets pretty tight in there. You are still going to have an opening, but you want to pull it pretty tight. And now we can tie it off. And again, because it's burlap, I'm making a little bit wider area to stitch because of those openings. If you were using a solid cotton or something like that, you might be able to just make a knot at the end. But I'm going to go ahead and stitch it so that it'll stay. And then I'm going to trim the edge. So now we have a big old ball of burlap. To turn it into our pumpkin, you tuck those raw edges inside that little opening that's still there. You can pluff it and fluff it however you'd like for the shape. And we needed to add a stem. Well, there's lots of things you could use for a stem, but I actually went out into my yard and found a tree branch that had broken off, and I just liked the rustic touch that it added, especially with the burlap. So I broke it into a piece about the right size. You can put a little hot glue or other adhesive on it, and then you're going to set it right down into that opening. and I just tied a little gingham bow around it. And there's your little finished burlap pumpkin. This one I did the same way, but I did it with a t-shirt, and I dyed it and stuffed it the same way and used a little zebra print ribbon because, like I say, the animal print pumpkins seem to be going to be big this fall. And then this one is actually a fuzzy leopard or cheetah print fabric. And I used a dyed pipe cleaner to make the little vine on this one. So I'm going to be making some big ones for at home and some small ones to give away as gifts. I think they're fun and easy and a great way to accent your home for fall. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Behind These Eyes, and stay tuned for some more creative ideas.